This isn't about a headline moment or a dramatic reveal. It's about a quiet tradition that lasted for years. One that almost no one knew about, and what it says about a relationship that never really disappeared, even after it officially ended. At a private event in Los Angeles, Demi Moore casually shared a detail from her early life with Bruce Willis that instantly reframed how people see their bond, not as a Hollywood marriage, not as a breakup story, but as something far more human, far more enduring. And the reason this memory resurfaced now has everything to do with music, routine, and a film that unexpectedly unlocked decades of emotion. Stay with this story, because what sounds simple at first reveals something rare about long-term connection, respect, and what it really means to stay family after everything changes. The setting wasn't a press conference or a red carpet interview. It was a private screening at Soho House in Los Angeles, a controlled, intimate space designed for conversation, not spectacle. Demi Moore was seated across from Kate Hudson during a Q&A following a screening of Song Sung Blue, Hudson's latest film. The film itself centers around music, memory, and shared rituals, themes that would quietly mirror what Moore was about to reveal. As the conversation turned personal, Moore paused and offered a small disclaimer. What she was about to say, she explained, was a little personal, not controversial, not dramatic, just personal.
Moore has moved in with Willis and his new family to provide support as he navigates his deteriorating health.
Had a ritual.
Demi has moved in, and she is not leaving until the very end, a source said.
No explanation, no exception,
Bruce Willis and
just
Demi
Neil
Moore were
Diamond
one of the biggest
played throughout
Hollywood
the
power
entire
couples
day.
at the height
Moore
of both of their
recalled that
careers
she
in
would
the late
sometimes ask
1980s.
what was happening,
Despite
why the
ending
music
their
was
marriage over
suddenly
20 years
everywhere,
ago and
and
marrying
Willis
other
would casually
people,
respond
they
that it
remained
was
good
Neil
friends and are
Diamond
often
as
seen
if that
hanging out
alone
together as
explained
part of a
everything,
blended
and in a
family.
way,
But
it
what
did.
actually
On
led
the
to their
surface,
divorce? And
this
is their
sounds like a
co-parenting
charming
friendship
anecdote,
really
a
as sturdy
quirky
as it
habit,
seems?
a nostalgic
From the
footnote
outside,
from a
Willis and
celebrity
Moore seemed
marriage,
like the
but the
celebrity
reason
power
this
couple that
moment
would go the
resonated
distance.
both with the
With a
audience in
quiet
the room
family
and
home in
later with the
Idaho
public
and a
eye is
devotion to
because
their
it
3
reveals
daughters,
something
the two
deeper
seemed
about
like they
shared
figured things
identity
out.
inside long-term
Despite their marriage coming to a
relationships.
close in
According to
2000,
Moore,
these two have
this
shown
wasn't
us
a
that the
phase.
bonds of
It wasn't
friendship can
something
be as
he did for a
unbreakable
month
as
or
they
a
are
year.
heartwarming.
He kept doing it for
surprised
years,
Bruce Willis?
and over time,
Yes, I
it
knew he
became
would
part
be.
of her
But
life
this tale
too.
holds
She
more
didn't
than just a
describe it
chapter
as
on
annoying
love.
or excessive.
In April
She described
2022,
it with warmth,
Bruce's family
with
revealed he had been
familiarity,
diagnosed with
affection.
aphasia.
Willis wasn't
However,
just
as
a
time went
casual
on, they
listener,
bravely
he
shared the
was,
truth.
in Moore's
Bruce
words,
was battling
a huge Neil
frontotemporal
Diamond
dementia.
fan, and somewhere
Demi and the
along
whole
the way,
family,
she became
notably
one as
Bruce's
well.
wife
That
Emma,
kind of
stepped up in the
influence
face of
doesn't
this
happen
adversity,
accidentally. It
proving that
happens
their
when
unity
two
goes
lives
beyond the
overlap
confines of a
deeply enough
romantic
that habits
past.
become shared
you
language.
still like me?
Music
Yeah.
becomes memory. Routine
In the world of
becomes emotional
Hollywood,
glue.
where
The
relationships
reason this
often
memory
flicker and
surfaced now
fade,
is closely
some
tied
stories
to
defy the
Song Sung
norm
Blue
and remind
itself.
us
The
that love
film
can
takes
take
its name
unexpected
from Neil
paths.
Diamond's
One such story
1972 hit
unfolds
as
in
a
the
theme
enduring
song that
connection
defined
between Demi
Willis'
Moore and
weekly
Bruce
ritual.
Willis.
Hudson stars
A month later,
alongside
the couple
Hugh
had a
Jackman
lavish
as part of a
ceremony with their
real-life
friends
couple
and
who
family
built
in
a
Los
Neil
Angeles.
Diamond cover band
Although
called
this was
Lightning
Bruce's
Thunder.
first
As
marriage, it
Moore
was
watched
Demi's
the film,
second, as she had
she
previously
explained
been married to
she
singer
found
Freddie
herself
Moore
pulled
for 5
backward
years
in
before
time.
splitting in
Scene after scene
1985.
reminded her
She
of those
obviously
days,
moves
of the
fast.
sound filling the
Within
house,
2 years,
of the
she was
predictability
divorced,
of the
engaged to
ritual,
Emilio,
of the
broke
comfort
up with
embedded
him,
in
and
something
married
so
Bruce.
ordinary.
It is
She
believed
wasn't
that Demi
describing
fell
a
pregnant
loss.
on their
She
wedding night
wasn't
with their
framing
first
it as
daughter,
regret.
Willis.
She was describing
Venture led to the pair
recognition, a
engaging in a
reminder
public
of a
spat
life
in a
chapter
restaurant.
that still exists,
Moore
say,
apparently
just in a
stood up,
different
slammed her
form.
hands on the
What's
table
notable
and
about
said,
how Moore
"I'm sick
spoke
of your
wasn't
bull
just
and your
what she
companies."
said, but
And then
how
she
she
walked
said
out.
it. There was no
But wait, there
attempt to
may be
rewrite
even more
history,
reasons
no
that led
effort
to
to
their
portray the
divorce.
relationship
Although
as
these rumors
perfect,
have not
no
been
implication that
confirmed or
things
denied,
should have turned
there
out
was allegedly
differently.
infidelity on
Instead,
both
she
parts.
spoke with a kind
In
of
the
emotional
1996
accuracy,
interview with Playboy,
acknowledging the
Willis
bond
discussed
without
his views on
romanticizing the
monogamy,
outcome.
which makes the
Moore and
infidelity
Willis were
rumors very
married from
believable, and his
1987
divorce
until
from Moore less
2000. They
surprising.
share 3 daughters.
In an interview, he
Rumor,
asked the interviewer to
Scout,
lie on his
and
hotel
Tallulah.
bed while
Those facts
describing
are
how
well
terrific
known.
the bachelor
What's less
lifestyle
discussed
was
is
for
how
him.
intentionally
I love
both
women.
have spoken
You know how guys
about
look at women and
separating
go,
the idea
"Oh,
of
wow,
marriage from the
I'm still
idea
that
of
guy,"
family.
he
Even years
said.
after their
The
divorce,
worst part?
Willis
He wasn't
publicly
joking in the
stated that while the
slightest.
institution of
He then
marriage
spoke
had
about
ended,
his views
the
on
friendship
marriage,
had
which
not.
created more
That
cause for
framing
concern.
matters, because it
What is
explains
marriage?
why a
No
story
woman
like
is
this
going to
can be
satisfy a
shared
man's
decades
natural
later
impulse to
without
procreate.
bitterness and
The
without
impulse doesn't
reopening
go away.
old
Willis was
wounds.
rumored to
This
have had
Neil
affairs with
Diamond
Liv
ritual
Tyler
isn't
and
an
Mila
isolated
Jovovich while
anecdote.
filming
It fits
Armageddon
into a
and The Fifth
broader
Element,
pattern of how both
both of
Moore
which,
and
if
Willis have
true, would have
described their
occurred around the time
post-marriage
Bruce and
dynamic
Demi's
over the
marriage was
years.
falling
They've
apart.
consistently consistently
There was
emphasized
also an alleged
continuity
incident
over
with an
conflict,
actress Willis hired
presence
to
over
manage one of his
distance.
restaurants.
Moore attended
But by
Willis'
that
wedding
point,
to
Moore
Emma
had
Hemming
checked
in
out of the marriage.
2009, not
But
as a
things went
symbolic
downhill in
gesture, but
1998.
as an extension of
If
the
you were
family
around in the
structure they had
90s, how could you
consciously built.
forget this couple's
Later,
divorce?
Willis
It
described their
consumed
blended
tabloids
family
for
not
over
as
2
fractured,
years.
but as a
Their
tribe.
13-year
That word
marriage
is
came to an
intentional.
end in
A tribe
2000.
implies loyalty
They
without
separated in
ownership,
1998.
connection without
2 years
control,
later, filed
and
for
rituals
divorce.
like music
When they
days,
submitted the
shared
paperwork, it was
traditions,
finalized
or
the
inside
same
jokes
day.
are
We don't
often
think
the
you can get a
invisible
quicker
threads
and
that
more
hold
peaceful
tribes
divorce
together
than
long
that.
after
At the
circumstances
time, Bruce said
change.
he wasn't
One reason
entirely
Moore's
sure what had
story
gone wrong in their
resonated so
relationship.
strongly is
When
because it
asked about the
highlights
divorce, he
something
said,
people rarely
"I
talk
still
about
love Demi.
openly,
We have
how
3
routines
children whom we will
outlast
continue to raise
relationships.
together, and we're
Big
probably
moments
as
fade
close now as
first,
we ever
grand
were.
gestures
We
blur
realize
over
we have a
time,
lifelong
but small,
commitment to our kids.
repeated
Our
actions
friendship
like playing the
continues."
same music
But
on the
what
same
actually
day
led
every
to the
week
couple's
embed
divorce?
themselves
The
deeply
pair
into
shot
memory.
33
When
movies in
Moore
their
watched
time
Song
together, and
Sung
they had been
Blue,
slowly
it wasn't
buckling
just
from
the
the
music
strain of
that
filming
triggered the
Hollywood
memory, it was the
blockbusters.
structure of it,
They were
the
spending too much time
predictability,
away
the
from each other and
familiarity.
leading
Neil
independent
Diamond
lives
wasn't
for
just
some
a
time before their
soundtrack, he was a
separation.
timestamp, a
It is
marker of a
completely
shared life rhythm
understandable, as
that
Willis
once
was at the height
existed
of his
and,
career with
in
the
some
Die Hard
ways,
franchise,
still
and
echoes.
Moore was the
Moore didn't
highest-paid
describe
actress
missing
in
the
the
marriage,
industry.
she
Another
described
reason that led to
remembering the
this couple's
texture of that
divorce was all
time,
the
and
actor's
there's a
various real
difference.
estate
It's
ventures.
also worth
They
asking why
managed to
Moore chose
maintain
to
an
share this
incredible
detail at
friendship
this
and support
moment.
each other
This
after
wasn't
they
a
moved
memo
on with their
excerpt,
respective
it
new
wasn't part of a
relationships.
promotional
In
campaign,
2005,
it
the
emerged
actress married fellow
organically during
actor
a
Ashton
conversation
Kutcher in a
about a
small
film
at-home
centered on
ceremony.
music,
Her ex
partnership,
was a special
and
guest
shared
at the
passion.
intimate wedding,
According
and
to
he
publicly
integrated Ashton
available
as a part of their
information,
blended family.
Moore framed the memory
Kutcher
as
and Moore
something the
divorced in
film
2013,
naturally
and
brought
Bruce
back,
was
not
right
as
there
a
by her
planned
side to help
revelation.
her through the
She
split.
praised the
It wasn't
generosity
until
of the
2007 that
performances,
Bruce met
including
Victoria's
those
Secret
of Hudson,
supermodel Emma
Hugh
Hemming.
Jackman,
After
and
a
the
little
younger
over a
cast
year of
members.
dating, the
That
couple tied the
generosity
knot in a
mirrors the way
luxurious
she spoke
ceremony in
about her
Turks and
past.
Caicos.
No
The
defensiveness,
couple welcomed
no
their daughter
nostalgia
Mabel in
designed for
2012
attention,
and their second
just
daughter Evelyn in
acknowledgement.
2014.
Hollywood often
One of the
presents two
actress's
extremes
friends
after
said,
divorce,
"I'm sure Demi
either
heard
total
about other women,
estrangement or
but at
performative
least at the end of their
friendliness."
marriage, I
Moore
don't
and
think she
Willis have
cared."
consistently
Much like
occupied
the
a
Die Hard
quieter
actor,
middle ground.
G.I. Jane's
They've spoken
extramarital
openly
life was
about
also the
staying
target
close
of
for their
tabloid
children, but
speculation
what
that's
stands
never
out
been
is that they
verified.
don't frame this
The
as
most
obligation,
legendary is
they
her
frame it
rumored
as
one-night
choice.
stand with
Willis
Leonardo
once explained
DiCaprio,
that their
which both
lifelong
Moore and
commitment
Willis
wasn't to a
denied.
contract,
Rumors
but to
also
their
swirled
kids.
around
That
about Moore's
perspective
wild
removes
partying
blame from
nights
the
with Brad
narrative.
Pitt,
It
Johnny
also
Depp,
explains
and Ben
why
Affleck.
stories like this don't
again,
feel
there has been
awkward
no
or
concrete
intrusive.
evidence.
They feel
The only
grounded.
confirmed
Emma Hemming
suspicious
Willis has
activity
also
is how
spoken
quickly Moore
publicly about
rebounded
this
with her karate
dynamic.
instructor,
She has shared that
which still
early in
doesn't
her
prove much of
relationship
anything.
with Bruce,
One thing
she
this
joined
ex-power
him,
couple can
Moore,
say they did
and their
right was
children on a
handling their
family
kids and
vacation,
co-parenting
rather than
relationship in the
feeling
years
like an
after the
outsider.
divorce.
She described
That we
gaining
were both
clarity.
able
She saw
to
Bruce not just
clear
as a
that our children
partner,
were
but
our
as a father
priority,
fully
and
embedded
that
in
whatever
an
we
active
had was
family
not
system.
theirs.
That experience, according to
and
Hemming
find a way to
Willis,
share it
played
and
a
be a
role in
family
how their
in a
relationship
different
developed.
form. And
It
It wasn't
reinforces
only the
that
actress
Moore's
and
story
fans that were
isn't an
impressed with how
exception,
well they
it's
handled
part
the
of a
divorce.
consistent
Their kids
pattern.
were too.
Music plays a
Their
unique
oldest
role
daughter,
in
rumor
stories like
said,
this because
"I'm so
it carries
thankful and grateful
emotion
that my
without
parents
assigning
made such
blame."
an effort at
Neil
that time.
Diamond's songs
They always
aren't
made
tied
an
to
effort to do all
specific
the family
conflicts
events
or
together
moments of
and have
tension.
our family
They're
be one
broad,
unit, as
melodic,
opposed to two
and
separate
emotionally
things,
open. That
which I
makes
think
them
really
safe
made an
containers
impact.
for memory.
These
When
were
Moore
Bruce's
says
fourth and
she
fifth
became a
daughters,
Neil
and he is
Diamond fan
incredibly
too,
close with all
she
of
isn't
them.
just talking
In
about
2019,
taste.
Bruce and
She's
Emma
talking
renewed their
about
vows,
shared
saying
emotional
they
space,
wouldn't do it
something
without
that
Demi
doesn't
there.
disappear
Their
just
unique
because
relationship had a lot
circumstances
of people
change.
confused
Public
in
reaction
2020,
to
however.
Moore's comments
The pair
was notably
quarantined together
warm,
with their
not
daughters
because the
during the
story
height of the
was dramatic,
pandemic,
but
without
because it
Emma.
was relatable.
His
Many
wife was
people
unable to be
recognize
quarantined
versions
with
of
them
this
as their
in their
youngest
own
daughter
lives. A
accidentally
song,
stabbed
a
herself with a
habit,
needle
a
in a
routine
park
that
and
still
needed to
carries
stay near
meaning
her
long
doctor.
after everything else has
Yikes.
shifted.
But this
In a
duo
media
managed to have the
environment
best
driven by
time and bond with
extremes,
their daughters and
restraint
each
stands
other.
out. Moore
Demi
didn't
Moore and Bruce
overshare.
Willis
She
show us
didn't
that a
hold
healthy
back.
divorce
she
where your
shared
kids come
just
first
enough.
is
What
possible.
Demi Moore
They
revealed
also show
wasn't
us
a
that you can
secret. Ted
always
was
be
a
friends with
reminder.
your ex
A
and
reminder
co-parent
that some
successfully
connections
by still
don't
loving
end
parts
when
of the
labels
person you
change.
once
That
loved.
shared history
Let us know
doesn't
what you
vanish
think about
when
the
the chapter
relationship now
closes.
and all the
And that
scandals
respect,
surrounding the
when
divorce.
What if
protected,
one song
can
could
quietly
define an
outlast
entire
everything
marriage?
else.
Demi
The
Moore
next
just
question
revealed
isn't
a
about the
deeply
past.
personal
Hey, it's about
ritual
what this
she
kind of
shared with
dynamic
Bruce
looks like
Willis.
over
And it's
decades,
surprisingly
especially
emotional.
in the public
Demi Moore
eye.
is opening up about
Because
her
this
early
story
days with
isn't
ex-husband
unique to
Bruce Willis,
Hollywood. It's
sharing a
just
memory
rarely
that
told
proves some
this
bonds
honestly,
never
and
really
that's where the
fade,
next chapter
even after
begins.
divorce.